realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed. I must admit, however, such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
Hello and welcome to a new Let's Play. This is Let's Play Myst. Now, Myst is an older game. The copy that I'm playing currently is the Myst 10th Anniversary Edition. It came with Myst, its sequel Riven, and the third one, which is called Exile. Now, what I'm playing right now is Myst, and basically this is a puzzle game of sorts. The backstory is, well, you kind of just heard it. We found a Myst book, which is this thing right here. Myst book. Open it up, and holy crap, we find ourselves in a new world. Let the journey begin. Now then, taking a wonderful look at our surroundings, there's a sunken ship, there's some forest, there's this wonderful door here, but we're not going to enter it right now. We got these marker switches everywhere. We're not going to mess with those. Well, actually, yeah, we are. Every one that we pass, we're going to go ahead and click. Well, first of all, there's this giant gear up here. We're going to go ahead and click this one. Reasoning why will pop up later. Like I was saying, this is an older game. I don't know when it came out, probably around 2000, something like that. I'm playing it on the computer, because there's a PS1 version, there's a whole bunch of other... Yeah, I'm playing it on the computer version. So, I got my mouse and everything. Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our forechamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager to retrieve the message. Yours, Atris. Alright, well, we've already messed with 2. Here we have a third one, and it looks like we have an observatory. If we turn off the lights here, we got stars. That will become important later. For now, we've got 3 marker switches. This is the library. It will be very important, and we'll actually be spending most of this first episode in here. Reading, actually. So, ayo. Here we have a rocket, and that's number 4, I believe. Alright, we got a bunch of switches, and there's another picture of the sunken ship that was at the dock. Here's number 5 marker switch. Here we have a generator room. If we go down here. Generator, rocket generator. So this is the energy going towards the island. This is the energy going towards the rocket. This will go up and down. We'll figure that all out later. See, power ship, generator switches. Continuing on. I'm just giving you guys a little tour of the island at the moment. Here we have a little tower thing. We got these things here. Do this, that moves the minute hand on the clock up there. This moves the hour hand, as you can see. Don't know exactly what to do with that yet, so we'll move on. Here we got another trigger switch. Hard to see, but behind here we got a tree. Come important later. Here we got like a boiler of sorts. And there's a safe in the wall, but we don't know the combination as of yet. So, if we were counting those switches correctly, plus there was one on the island over here, That means 8. So now we're going to return to the very front of the island, all the way over here, because that note said to go into this by the dockside and enter the number of switches onto the machine. Now what we see here is generated water. And we do this, nothing exactly happens, it turns off. Then we turn it back on, we got that water effect again. That's because if you turn around, holy crap, here we go. Topographical extrusion test, 40. Water turbulent pool, 67. Marker switch diagram, 47. Well, out of interest, let's go ahead and do 47. And what's that show us? A diagram of a marker switch, right here. Wonderful, isn't it? Now, the other one's 40. We have to click it. Come on. There we go. 40. What are you going to show us? We appear to have some very flat land. Now it's risen, if I could speak. Oh, well, that's a nice little snowy mountainside there. I wouldn't mind climbing that. Carrying on. What we really need to do is to get our message 08. The number of marker switches. And what do we get? A message.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened.
What has happened?
It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine, it's one of our sons. I suspect Agonar, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions.
Agonar?
I'll find him and Cirrus as well. Oh, I should have known better than to have left my library unchecked for so long. Well, I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in their places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return. But if you've forgotten the access keys, remember the tower rotation. Oh, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, wait, and erase this message after you've viewed it, just to be safe.
Okay. Well, basically what was told to us there is we need to remember a tower rotation, so keep that in mind. And we need to go, apparently, into this library and figure some stuff out. Now then, what we got here in the library is this map of the entire Myst Island. And you'll quickly notice, holy crap, what's all this stuff? Well, turning on the marker switches, we were able to put all this wonderful detail onto the map. Now, what we need to do is, if you click this blinking dot, this is a tower. And if we were to click it, like this, just notice how this goes red. That's important. And I'll show you guys why in a second. But first, well, we'll probably not even get to that until the next episode. First, we gotta look at two different things. First, you'll notice is this wonderful red... Come on, click the red book. This wonderful red book. Now, if you actually open it up right now, nothing's gonna make sense right here. It's just staticky. Strange. Well, what we need to do is take this red page and put it in the book. And we get this.
Why?
We're on D-helm.
Bring me a red page.
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you. Can you speak up? Static all over the phone.
I can't see. Need a red page, you must. Bring.
Look for red pages? I guess that's what he's saying. I'm not sure, guys.
Give it up.
I think we'll have to look for some more red pages before that will become clear. And holy crap, whoa, we got a blue book. Let me guess. Yeah, same thing here. Well, let's see if we can get a clear message for putting this page in the blue book.
Serious?
Ooh, hello. You got a high-pitched voice for a man.
Who are you?
I'm D-Helm. I told you the other guy.
You know. Help me.
I guess he's asking
Blue
for help, too.
pages.
Blue pages. Okay, I understood that much. So we need to get red and blue pages to fix these books.
Pages. I must have the blue page.
You kind of sound insane.
Bring them to me.
Interesting. Well then, if that wasn't weird, I don't know what is. Now you quickly notice there's this bookshelf here, and most of these books appear kind of damaged. I'd have to say, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4 books that have been left unharmed, and it's these books that we will now read. Starting with you. I have called this age Channelwood, and it is a very different world. Though it is exactly how I imagined it, it is still amazing to see it with my own eyes. Water covers this age as far as I can see, except for a small rocky island. Elsewhere, there are only trees, which grow directly out of the water. A myriad of thin wooden passageways are built just above the water and disappear into the forest. I assume they were built some time ago, for they appear aged. I am eager to discover more about this land and its people, but I have arrived here late, and I must rest. I was awakened this morning by strange noises coming from a pathway adjacent to the line in which I slept. I saw a group of monkey-like people heading in my direction. They had not seen me yet. I did not feel threatened by their presence. The response to me was one that I would have never expected. After staring at me for a short time, they fell to their knees and began what appeared some sort of ceremonial worship. I tried to speak to them, but they did not understand my language. Instead, they indicated through enthusiastic hand motions that I was to follow them. As we walked, I began to notice that the waters below us were changing colors. Slowly, subtly, they would change from deep blue to muddy orange, then from muddy orange to beautifully clear. I was so intrigued by the water, I hardly noticed that we had arrived at a ladder. Climbing the ladder led us to their village, which is about 10 meters above the water, and can only be reached by rope ladders that stretch from the lower paths to the village level approximately halfway up the grand trees. It was very interesting watching these people carry out their daily tasks. Even after watching them for hours, I did not understand exactly what they were doing. At sunset, they motioned for me to follow them. I followed the creatures to the doorway of an enormous hut. Strangely, once inside, I found that the hut appeared even larger than it had from the outside. The walls were garnished with bright metals, and in the center of the hut sat the leader of these people. At least, he appeared to be their leader, for he sat a meter off the floor in a thick throne. Guards surrounded the strong creature, who was dressed in many exotic, colorful fabrics. Next to the leader sat a very old human. At least, to some extent, he appears human. His hair, which was only on his face, and head, was completely gray, almost white, and hung very long around his frail body. His thin head hung limply by an almost grotesque neck that could not hold its head up to look at me. But what a surprise, this creature could speak my language. Shortly thereafter, I was given bed with some hand motions that looked to be telling me to go to sleep. I look forward to learning more. As I suspected, the ancient creature is a human, but he is old beyond his own reckoning, and seems almost insane. However, the tree dwellers almost revere him as a god. They are treating me now in the same fashion, which makes me feel very uncomfortable. It is also impossible to understand this old man. His voice is feeble but wild. He has adopted much of the language of the tree dwellers. Blech. He has adopted much of the language of the tree dwellers. He himself told me that he had not spoken our own tongue in ages. He attempted to explain to me the history of the place. The following is my best translation of what he has told me. Many years ago, the human and tree dwellers lived together in this place, which was then a vast island. They interacted very little. The humans dwelt on the ground, and the tree dwellers lived high above the humans. Occasionally, the island was disturbed by mysterious rumblings, which happened randomly. Some sort of tectonic or volcanic action, I suspect. The sometimes slight, sometimes heavy tremors would only last a short time. Then they would stop, allowing everything to return to normal. One day, things changed. The rumblings began and grew quickly to unprecedented levels. Soon, it became apparent that the entire island was sinking slowly into the ocean around them. Many of the humans died that day, but not before sacrificing themselves in order to stop the sinking of the island. The humans who lived through this catastrophe moved into the trees where they gradually died out. Maybe because they were unequipped for such an environment, but I am not sure. This is the story the old man communicated to me. Although many details are very unclear in my mind, I am especially confused as to how the humans saved the island from completely sinking. In fact, I doubt the accuracy of that part of the man's story. The island must have stopped on its own. Yet the old man believes in the truth of the story as if he had been there. And the tree dwellers worship him, and apparently all humans, as if they were heroes or gods. The old man ended our conversation today with an event which I will never forget. He began gripping my hands tightly, murmuring something about rest and asleep. He then said, "We had expected you to come sooner." These actions filled me with a sort of immediate dread. With much effort, he stood to his feet. I tried to help, but he pushed me away, with more force than I imagined his frail body contained. The tree dwellers quietly surrounded him with very solemn faces. They then kneeled before him. He walked to each and placed his hand on their heads. All the while, he murmured words which I did not understand. Finally, he turned to me and smiled. Then he closed his eyes and walked out the door and off of the narrow path, high in the trees. The tree dwellers were silent. They began a procession down the nearest rope ladder. As I was descending, I saw several of them pick up the body he had fallen onto a lower level of walkway and carried it away. He was laying down at the dead end of a short pier-like structure. With the use of some potion, one of the tree creatures lit the pier on fire, and I watched as the flames engulfed him. As this strange funeral proceeded, the waters around the pier changed to dull green. This morning I awoke finding it hard to even believe the previous evening's events. The water is a dull green for as far as I can see now. For some reason, the water no longer shifts color. As I wander throughout the pathways, the creatures watch me curious to see what I will do next. They are constantly offering me strange objects of affection. I even found food outside the doorway to the room in which I had slept. This is a unique race of beings. I hope to learn their language soon, so that I may learn more from them. I have lived on this world for 3 months off and on, and the tree dwellers have shown great hospitality. I am even beginning to learn bits of their language. I have decided to return home for an extended stay, with my loving wife and my sons, and hopefully return with them. However, I am sure Catherine will once again refuse. I think this age would be a wonderful experience for them all, and I at least look forward to how Cyrus and Aknar will react to its curious inhabitants. Catherine is staying behind as suspected. My sons have returned with me, and they enjoy this age very much. They get along very well with the tree dwellers, and are picking up their language surprisingly fast. I have no doubt that it will not be too long until they can speak with the tree dwellers much better than myself. I am leaving tomorrow to check on Osmoian age. Cyrus has suggested that I allow him and his brother to stay. Though the idea unsettles me, I know the boys are growing up rapidly. The hospitality of these creatures is such that I could think of no better place to leave them along for a short while, so I will consent to their request. I warn the boys not to take advantage of the respect that the tree dwellers have for their ideas. They seem to understand my warning, and I have faith they will follow it. Much to my dismay, upon arriving in Everdunes, I learn that Pran and her people are continuing to be menaced by the Shoktik. I fear for their survival and plan on returning to her shortly, after checking on Cyrus and Akron. Here, see Everdune's journal for more information. After watching Cyrus and Aknar, I see they are handling things very well, and I think I can put to rest any fears about leaving them in Channelwood again. To check on and for a little longer time. The tree dwellers seem slightly distressed that I am leaving, but they are happy that Cyrus and Aknar are staying behind again. I've been gone for over 3 days, and I have been to many different places. I had to tell Cyrus and Aknar about Pran's death today, and they were visibly shaken. Although they only remember her from their childhood, Catherine has suggested that it would be wise for Cyrus and Aknar to leave Channelwood for a while, and I have to agree. They will be returning with me when I leave again. I have told my sons that they will be returning with me in 2 days. They spent the entire night telling me of an adventure they experienced in my absence, and it was rather remarkable. It seems they constructed a boat with the creatures and traveled some ways out into the surrounding waters. I enjoyed hearing them talk excitedly of their adventures, and it reminded me of my own adventures as a child. I finally understand why the tree dwellers have been giving me their many inks and insisting I write with them. Looking through some of my past entries, I see now that the inks have changed from the black I thought they were to various different colors. I have shown some of the creatures my journal, and they laughed and howled. I did not know they had such a sense of humor. Even now, as I look through this very colorful journal, I cannot help but laugh myself. No will be we will be returning tomorrow, so my sons are with the creatures for the last night here. They have told me they would like to come to Channelwood again, and also asked if they can visit some other ages alone. Though I will have to think over their request, I believe they have proven to me that they are trustworthy and responsible. Catherine will also have to help me decide whether they are ready for travel alone. For now I must give my farewells to the creatures, for I do not know how long it will be until I visit this age again. Now then, you'll see these are some images. Now these are drawings that Atris, I think his name is, doodled from each of the ages. And there's going to be several pages like this in every one of the books. Reading these books are important. They give tips on how to solve puzzles and like all the different ideas that you need to have in your head for each of these ages. But that's going to be good enough for this episode, I think, and I'll see you all in the next episode where we'll continue reading these books. So, I'll see you all then.